Hello, my name is Stephanie Greenfield and welcome to Oceania Weekly. The Auckland Art Fair was held at the Queen's Wharf from the 1st to the 5th of May. There were more than 40 galleries hailing from Shanghai, San Diego, Rarotonga, Jakarta, Australia and New Zealand. The displayed artworks included paintings, photography, sculpture, moving images, ceramics, drawing and performances.
Hi, my name's Stephanie Post. I'm one of the two co-directors of Auckland Art Fair along with Hayley White. Auckland Art Fair has been going for a number of years, but this is the third edition that we have been directing. We had one in 2016, one in 2018 and now 2019. So we're now an annual art fair. There are something in the region of about 40 galleries showing the work of more than 150 artists from around New Zealand, Australia, China, Indonesia, the Cook Islands and Chile. So from around the Pacific region.
From the 1st of October 2019, some visitors and transit passengers must have an electronic travel authority, we call it NZETA, and pay an international visitor conservation and tourism levy before traveling in New Zealand. The NZETA will improve the way travelers are assessed before they arrive in New Zealand and help reduce the time needed for border clearance and strengthen border security. Immigration New Zealand says the International Visitor Conservation and Tourism Levy is a way for travelers to contribute directly to the tourism infrastructure they use and to help protect and enhance the natural environment they will enjoy during their stay in New Zealand.
Miss Asia Pacific International is an organisation that believes in celebrating beauty through diversity. It enables women from all around the world to embrace, express and exercise their individuality. Established and organised in 1968 and hailed as the mother of all pageants in Asia, it has the principal intention of promoting peace, goodwill, trade and tourism among participating nations in Asia, the Middle East and the Pacific. The reach of this pageant now embraces all corners of the globe. The final was on the 29th of June in the Sky City Theatre in Auckland. New Zealand Prime Minister Jacinda Ardern and her partner Clark Gayford are engaged to be married. A spokesperson for Miss Ardern wouldn't confirm any details other than that the pair got engaged in Mahia over the Easter holidays. National leader Simon Bridges and his wife Natalie extend their congratulations to the PM and Clark on their engagement. Miss Ardern gave birth to their first child, Neve Te Aroha Ardern Gayford, on the 21st of June last year. Mr Gayford has been the girls' stay-at-home father. Members of Christchurch's Muslim community say the death of a Turkish citizen wounded in the March 15 attacks has added to their pain. The 46-year-old man was shot in the chest at the Al Noor Mosque during the Christchurch terror attacks and died overnight after almost 49 days in intensive care and 13 surgeries. His name was released by Turkish authorities, but at the request of his family and the police, he will not be named within New Zealand. He is the 51st person to die as a result of the mosque attacks. A fellow worshipper at the mosque, Rana Shakim, said the death would have been particularly hard for his two young children and his wife. Official flu rates are surging in southern Australia, but experts agree that the number of confirmed cases is just the tip of the iceberg. Southern Australia Health has received 8,887 notifications this year, compared to 1,280 for the same period last year. Adelaide University expert Nigel Stock says it's impossible to determine the full extent of the problem. The Australian National Centre for Immunisation Research has warned of a horror season to come with 4,000 flu-related deaths predicted across the country. Australian Prime Minister Scott Morrison will continue to back US President Donald Trump in his efforts to tackle the North Korea crisis, after the rogue state fired several short-range missiles for the first time since 2017. South Korea viewed the rocket fire as an attempt to pressure the US after its failed nuclear summit with the North. Mr. Morrison said the US president had admitted dealing with North Korea would be difficult and there would be setbacks. On his election campaign in Brisbane on Saturday, Mr. Morrison told reporters that he has shown a real commitment and patience and would only continue to encourage the US president. In Australia, wait time for elective surgeries have ballooned to the worst since records began. Half of all patients are now waiting at least 40 days for treatment in the public hospital system, with some put on hold for as long as 2 years. And even to join the queue, a prospective patient must make an appointment to see a specialist, which itself can take up to more than a year. The Australian Medical Association says Australia's worst waiting periods are 476 days. Overseas buyer activity has fallen sharply in the first quarter of the year after restrictions to ban foreigners from snapping up existing homes took hold. Statistics New Zealand said home transfers to people who did not hold New Zealand citizenship or a resident visa fell more than 80% in the March 2019 quarter, compared to the same period a year earlier. Real estate specialists say that overseas people acquired just 0.6% of home transferred in the first quarter of 2019, reflecting the law changes in late 2018 that introduced the restrictions for overseas buyers. There were 204 home transfers to people who did not hold New Zealand citizenship or a resident visa in the March 2019 quarter versus 1,083 in the March 2018 quarter. Total home transfers fell 3.5% over the same period.
For a year, U.S. President Donald Trump has insisted his nuclear talks with North Korean leader Kim Jong-un are progressing. His proof? No North Korean nuclear or missile tests.
Speed is not that important to me. I very much appreciate no testing, and I am in no rush. We don't want the testing, and we've developed something very special with respect to that.
Trump can't say that anymore. Last week, North Korea launched its first ballistic missile in a year and a half. The short-range missile launch is Kim's latest attempt to increase pressure on Trump, says Korea analyst Scott Snyder.
I do think the North Koreans are testing the U.S. response. They're trying to find out where the ceiling is in terms of U.S. tolerance for provocations.
Days after the launch, the White House response has still been muted. Trump hasn't even criticized the test. Other U.S. officials point out the missile was not capable of hitting the U.S. mainland. But by trying to salvage the nuclear talks, the U.S. could actually be ensuring that North Korea tests more missiles.
The North Koreans may decide that they haven't hit the ceiling, and therefore there's a possibility that they will do more tests in order to try to define exactly how far they can go before the United States responds in a more dramatic fashion.
It's the natural outcome of Trump defining the success of the talks in terms of no North Korean tests, says La Trobe University's Benjamin Habib.
So he's really trapped in how he responds to this current escalation by the error he made there in not taking a more incremental approach. Clearly, any kind of test after that is going to damage Trump. And it's going to make it harder for him to come back and negotiate again.
South Korea has also responded cautiously, fearful of ruining talks that President Moon Jae-in has made a centerpiece of his administration. Here in South Korea, many officials are reluctant to even utter the word missile. Instead, they prefer now to say that North Korea tested projectiles. That is partly explained by the fact that South Korea could be most impacted if Donald Trump and Kim Jong-un begin once again exchanging threats of nuclear war. Bill Gallo, VOA News, Seoul.
You have been watching Oceania Weekly. We'll see you next week.